Alright, with a little assistance, I had a friend help me pull off the bed of the truck here so that way I could do a little walk around, point out a couple of things and give you guys a real good idea of the amount of work that's went into this extensively long project here. You know, there's a lot of things you have to take into consideration when you bring a truck down to the ground level, and one of those main concerns is any bolts that hang down on the frame rail. You know, your factory frame rail is a C-section of frame rail that runs with the open side to the inside on both sides. And my frame is fully boxed and capped off. I've wrapped it a four-sided wrap. A lot of people just do an inside cap off. I've done a four-sided wrap with thick steel along the bottom as a grind plate, 3/16 steel to cap off the insides, and 1/8 inch steel on the overlap on the top side and outside. So this thing it's beefy. We retain the factory body mounts here. Got the polyurethane bushings underneath the thing all the way around. But this is what I'm talking about you have to take into consideration when you bring a truck down to the point that your frame rail is going to be, you know, laying on the ground level, that any bolts have to be raised up. You know, this hanger plate was devised to hang this transmission crossmember carrier bearing because you can't have any bolts hanging through the frame rail, because if you grind those heads of those bolts off, you're going to be losing parts down the road. So, you know, that type of stuff has to be taken into special consideration when doing something like this. Looking forward from here, you can see the transmission crossmember there with the dual exhaust cutouts that I had fabricated. That was one of the first pieces that I made for the truck. All the joints that lap on this frame lap diagonally like that, at a slight diagonal. That was recommended by Lowrider magazine to further stiffen the construction of the frame when doing the wrapping. And you can see here the gussets for the rear trailing arm bars. And I left the area between my step notches open at the moment. At one time I had a cross member in there, but whatever. This is open to your artistic ability to do whatever you'd like, as far as whether you want to go tubular, square, whatever, to hang either your airbags or your hydraulic cylinders. And you see just how tough this frame is when we come around the back corner here. And notice how I lap these corners too. This one comes all the way across, this one comes all the way across. It's tough. Super tough. Has virtually no flex. I mean, when you jack on this corner with the jack, it's crazy. Like the whole side, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't pick up at an angle like your factory frame. It picks up evenly because it's so stiff. Notice that I had slotted the bed mounts because I wanted to get the bed up to as close to the cab as I could. Now this is called a traditional floor body drop because when you cut the floors to raise them, what you get is a step across the door sill plate there, whereas a lot of guys now are doing heavy frame alterations in the front underneath the cab to perform what they call a stock floor body drop. But this is a traditional body drop. You see some of my custom floor work there. Did a flat floor out of 1/8 inch steel. I got a radius corners there to clear the seats. All this work was mainly performed in my mom's garage, where I had a super flat floor to work with to ensure that my vehicle was going to sit flat. Now it's kind of hard to draw that conclusion from seeing it here in my gravel driveway that's, you know, just not sitting too evenly at the moment, but all the work was performed in the garage with a nice flat garage floor to be able to take, you know, plenty of measurements off of. I think that pretty much concludes it. I just wanted you all to get a good look at the extensive amount of work I've done to this frame. And that wrapping continues all the way up to the front. I mean, even up to here. You see my underplate and my weld joint there and my weld at the top. And these were all torch heated to conform to the frame rail, you know, clamped in sections, and it was a slow going process. The undersides of the A-arms are also wrapped. It's kind of you know, industry standard in the hydraulic circuit there.